Praise the Lord, saints and friends. I ran across this video earlier today, and it was about what happened in World War II. And the reason why it struck me was because of what has happened today, or in this time period. And I can't help but think of the difference that the commanding generals have responded to between these times. And this comes into actions, right actions, actions that tell us, essentially, it either looks at our righteousness or looks at our lack of the same. And I want you to judge for yourself. It all started with the story of there was this lieutenant. And he had been to West Point. He's bred in the South, raised there, sharp as a tack. And he's walking. And he encounters this captain, black guy, who was a veteran of 22 or 28 years, 28 years of service. I may be embellishing a little, but it may be 22. Anyway, the numbers escape me for just a little bit. But usually, I believe the captain's position was at that time higher than a lieutenant. Now, I'm not quite sure how that goes. I believe that's what it was. The captain's rank was higher than the lieutenant's. And the lieutenant, because he was born in the South and raised in the South according to the ways of the South, did not acknowledge the captain that was right there. Walked right by him, saw right through him. No respect. And when he was told about this, someone that saw him, he said that essentially it shouldn't matter what the military does. This is how it's supposed to be, that we don't acknowledge those who are beneath us. That's what he felt. And in those days, a lot of people felt that way. A lot of what you would normally call good people. Your supermarket grocer, your maybe the person at the factory, your pastor may have felt that way. And so he had a lot of support and figured in the army that no matter what traditions they had, it could not go over the fact that you cannot salute someone who's inferior to you. Well, that particular incident made its way through the barracks, through the lines. It was a hot story at the time. And it got all the way up to General George Patton. If you're a buff of history, you know that General George Patton was the one who led the charge of the Allies from the beaches of Normandy across France and into Germany to eventually, if the war kept going a few more days, would have shook hands with the Russians. And I believe that in one portion they did, actually. Anyway, but George Patton was very important. And he caught wind of this. And he sought that lieutenant. And Patton upbraided this man who would dare not to follow rank, didn't care about the color of the man's skin, didn't care where he came from. The man was ranked higher and therefore needed that respect, or should have that due respect. He said, if you don't apologize right now to that man and acknowledge who he is, then I will strip you of all of your ranks and you will be sent to an inferior group. Not that they are inferior by color, but that you will do the most menial of tasks. That shook that lieutenant, shook him to his boots. And he went to the person who he had disrespected. He had a full-out apology. Now, as the story went on, found that the guy had met some misfortune, that he ended up having to be discharged from the Army with honors because he had gotten injured. But he did not like what happened. And he felt the Army had, in a way, damaged his trust. And he felt himself to be undermined, because he still had those feelings. See, people many times you wonder, well, how come he has this feeling? That's what he sticks to. That's one's worldview. If you rock one's worldview, as Patton did to this person, then it's upheavals in that person's life. Now, a person may take the upheavals and change, but in many cases, you double down wherever you can. It looks like this man never quite got over that incident. And he always blamed it for his misfortunes in life after that. The reason why I bring up this story is because of what our Secretary of War has done. And I've been quiet about this all this time, but I did notice. I noticed that he demoted just about every general of rank who was of color. He doesn't have anyone of color that reports directly to him. And I can't help but think that the knowledge in these people have went up through the ranks, paid their dues, spent decades in the armed services, learned what they were supposed to learn. And they get up to a particular point and they're put back down. All because someone just could not believe that a person of their complexion could actually lead men. You may say that, well, he never said that. He never said that. Well, the proof is in the pudding. A lot of people don't say what they do because they know if they say what they do, they will have to pay repercussions of it. So if you don't have to say it, but all your actions show it, there it is. And I have to wonder, because of certain things that have been mentioned in the last several days, as the Secretary of War had to speak before Congress. And he was getting furious and mad that how dare you denigrate the progress that we've been making as an army of the greatest army in the world, that you should actually be bowing down to us and thankful that we're your saviors. Now, of course, since that is starting to borderline deistic worship, the thing that we've learned in this country is that we question, and we must question. Think about it. Those who have been called in the Bible, many of them questioned their calling, even much, Lord, do you really think that I should be doing this? Shouldn't it be up to somebody else? There was times when, of course, God seemed kind of short, but there were other times where he allowed himself to be questioned and instead proved it through his display of grace, power, knowledge, love. That he didn't downgrade them because of their questions. The only time he really did so, or what seemed like it was not good, was if they had a lack of faith when they had seen his power, his mercy, and so on. So, if we cannot question those who are in charge of our armed services, and we just listen to everything as it is a quote from God himself, then we should deserve anything that happens to us. Now, there were some things that were said. Is it true that we have used up half of our arsenal of missiles, expensive missiles, in order to counter a drone attack that was relatively quite cheap? Quite cheap. On the count of maybe even 100 to 1 or more. That essentially, how is it that we're the strongest nation in the world and we cannot secure the Gulf of Hormuz? How come it wasn't stated that the bases around the area, those that are in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and in other areas, United Arab Emirates, how those have been heavily damaged by these same drones? The reason why is because it's very important for us to know, can we even stage correctly if we needed to invade when the bases that we have are heavily damaged? I'm sure there's something that could be done, but it's no longer optimal. It'll take some days. There are workarounds that can be done, yes, but it will take time. So as we are going through this, what do you call it, this accounting of our strengths, weaknesses, resources, whatever, then why are we so worried about the color of the person who wears a stripe or 2 or 3 or 4? Especially since the Secretary of War is not a general. And I wonder if that's a part of it too. The reason why I say this is not so that there's affirmative action in the Navy or in the Army, the Air Force, or the Marines. No, you are there because of what you've done. You have proven your worth, and that's why they award you this rate. That's why you're set above certain people. That's why you have these bars on your uniform. But it can't be because of someone inherently, because I'm going to tell you this right now. No one is inherently smarter than me. I'm not pushing myself up. But the Lord has given me worth. He has given me a mind to think. He has given me eyes to see, ears to hear, a mind to understand the things that are around me. So I don't say this lightly, because I am not normally someone that will boast about who I am and what I do. But all I'm saying is that just because you have a certain skin complexion, that does not and will not make you any smarter or better than I am. And you may have achieved more. It's because you achieved more. And we give you that. I give you that. I know my position. I'm not trying to be the head of everything, because that's not there. God didn't put me there. But I have just as much capability as anybody else, regardless of what country you come from or what skin complexion you have, the texture of your hair, or the breadth of your lips. It does not matter. God has given all of us not confidence in ourselves in terms of, I'm better than you, I'm better. I never said I was better than you. I said no one is better than me, which means we're all on the same level. Then it takes what your skills are as to where you stand in a certain area. Give me a second. Excuse me. But this is what troubles me about our armed services. And we're so worried about the public glorifying the achievements of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force. We're so worried about what they think and how we're supposed to all get behind the military. That's never been the MO of this country. We don't get behind the military. The military gets behind the public and therefore reports to them as represented by Congress. And it should tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No hiding unless it is a clandestine operation that needs the utmost of secrecy. But seeing the damage of our bases is not the utmost of secrecy. The amount of missiles we have available is not the subject of secrecy. What we should do is learn from this and be able to understand that the wars of the future may not be fought in a way that we or our forefathers had dreamed or thought of before. And all of this stuff right here, why are we getting so petty that we're now putting people up regardless of their experience or lack of it, just because they have a certain complexion? America, we can do better than that. And I know God doesn't care about who you are. He's pulling people out of every nation, tongue, and creed. He has nothing to do with the color of our skin. And thank God for Jesus. God bless you, saints. Take care of yourselves. And please, don't judge anybody. Don't put a judge on everybody for what one or a few people do. Judge them as individuals. Be the bigger person. And God will bless you. He will bless you. I guarantee it. Love you all. Take care. May God bless you all. In Jesus' name.